Welcome back to Sign TV. And Sign TV is a television channel which focuses on end time prophecies, the fall of Jerusalem, and the coming of the rule of the final false Messiah, the Antichrist. It's easy to argue that Israel lost the war on the 18th of October 2023. That was the day when President Biden arrived in Jerusalem, the first Roman Catholic president who is reigning in Washington, D.C., when Israel is fighting a war. And President Biden came to Israel to order Benjamin Netanyahu to obey the US Central Command's war plan. This war plan is according to American war doctrine and not exactly the desire and the plan that the IDF had at the beginning of the war, the 7th and 8th of October 2023. 2 days before Joe Biden came to Jerusalem, the General of Staff of the Central Command arrived in Tel Aviv on the 16th of October. Then the final war plan was presented to the IDF, and Jerusalem had to surrender to the plan of the United States of America. The US military doctrine of the Middle East is to defend the State of Israel. But the State of Israel is not permitted to defeat the two enemies they are facing, neither the PLO, Al Fatah, nor the Hamas. The State of Israel shall be forced into surrender to the American sponsored two-state solution. The US Central Command told the IDF to split Gaza into two. In the south, they should establish a security zone governed by the United Nations and Qatar and keep the Egypt-Hamas border open. This kind of war arrangement made it literally impossible for Israel to defeat the Hamas. The political leadership in Jerusalem have to talk to the media and explain to the people that they want to terminate the Hamas, but they are not been given the permission to do this by the United States of America. This is a very planned defeat. Israel is looking as fighting a war, and surely there is fighting, but it's not a smart way to fight. And at the end of the road, there will be a defeat, the first defeat of the State of Israel since its inauguration and the War of Independence of 1948. If Israel was going to win this war, what had to be done before the arrival of Joe Biden on the 18th of October. There was a 10-day war pause, and Israel should have followed their original plan of defeating the Hamas in Gaza. What should Israel have done to win this war with the Hamas? The IDF should also have taken control of the Egypt-Gaza border and the Philadelphia corridor, which was there before 2005. Israel have occupied this territory before, and it's so important that Israel should have been controlling the border between Egypt and Gaza and controlled all movement in and out to see that the Hamas would not get any supplies of any military equipment, and none of the Hamas leaders will be able to escape from Gaza. The IDF should have established a security zone in northern Sinai. This is a temporary security zone, and the purpose of establishing this security zone is to move all the civilians out of Gaza and into Sinai, all the females, all the children, and only leave combatants left in Gaza to defeat the Hamas, to terminate this Nazi organization completely. Israel should have ruled out any negotiation with the Islamic terror organization Hamas. No ceasefire, only demanded an unconditional surrender of hostility and release of all the hostages. If that had been done, the war would have been over immediately. Was that the consequences of not surrendering, if Hamas was not unconditionally surrendering, the consequences will be death of tens of thousands of people in Gaza. Why did this not happen? Simply because the world wants to see Israel defeated. Keep in mind that during Nazi Germany, in April and May 1945, peace negotiations and a ceasefire was out of the question. The Allied forces knew they were going to kill tens of thousands of Germans in the city of Berlin. But the consequences of not doing so would be that Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany would have ruled Germany today, and darkness would have come over the complete world, and we would not live in freedom as we do today in the Western civilization. The consequences of negotiating with Islamic terrorists is that they will use the Stockholm Syndrome against you. The Stockholm Syndrome is that they will first terrorize you and do terrible things to you, kill your close family and relatives. Next, they will start to do something good. And the moment they do something good, you will start to feel pity for them, and you will feel some sympathy for them, because releasing small children and releasing innocent Israeli civilians seems to be a good thing to do. But they have forgotten they have been tortured, they have forgotten that their close relatives has been killed, butchered, and women have been raped. And Hamas is getting released prisoners from Israel who have been convicted in the court of law for terrorism. And this is a terrible mistake. And the Stockholm Syndrome is now used against the state of Israel and might lead to the fall of Jerusalem and the end of the Zionist state, the Jewish state of Israel. Thank you for listening to me, and welcome back to more program on this Zion TV, and be blessed in the name of Yeshua.